So, welcome, gorgeous souls, to another juicy, joyful episode of Live Your Best Laugh. We've been having such a gorgeous chat that I was like, actually, you probably really should hit record and start the podcast because I have got an absolute gem of a soul for you today. Her heart is huge and open and glorious. And the work she does is beautiful and necessary and super enriching. So I'm so excited to have you as a guest, Sally. We have the lovely Sally Reason of Positive Reasons, and she is so passionate about supporting families to feel empowered, informed, and confident during their pregnancy, birth, and early parenting. Like, so necessary, your work, isn't it? So I'm super excited. We've been trying to get this pod together for a while, haven't we? And I'm so
Yeah.
excited you're on, my lovely. So if you'd like to say hello to everyone listening, and yeah, anything you would like to share about yourself, my lovely.
Hi to everyone. And yeah, thank you, Kat. I mean, like you say, it's been a little while for us to get to this point and amazing. So thank you for having me today. So yeah, I'm down here based in Brighton and absolutely, like you said, supporting families and supporting well-being in all its aspects is my absolute passion. So yeah, that influences all the work. And obviously, because it influences my work, it's got to influence my life. So that's how I, live my whole life down here with my family. So yeah, that's the idea of it all anyway.
Yeah, I love that. And that is that real kind of like all-encompassing, isn't it?
Hmm.
For your work.
Hmm.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like it's a full body thing, isn't it? It's not like I'm just
Hmm.
you're being your work, aren't you? Don't just go
Yeah.
off and do your work, like you are being. And I love that about you because we've known each other for I think a few years, I guess
Hmm.
now through the
Hmm.
Susie Fests we've been to, all those different live events. And you do like exude a really like warm and beautiful energy. So I think anyone that like has the pleasure of working with you, like it must be like such a powerful thing, like you say, like pre-birth, during birth, like after birth, because there's such
Hmm.
huge moments, aren't they? You know?
Yeah, definitely. There's such one of the biggest transitions in life, and it's often seen as, you just do it. And there's importance on parts of it, but just my key thing is about normalizing all aspects and celebrating that and sharing it all together so you don't feel it's just me or they've got it, I'm doing it wrong, and all those things. And supporting, I really like to flip the lid on it, I call it. So instead of doing the well-being, obviously, of your child, if you
Yeah.
look after you, you're going to be able to do that more. Does that make sense? And that first year of their well-being of their child develops their whole mental health, everything for the rest of their life. So it's essential in my opinion. You can see I love it, but it's so
Yeah.
important. But you're sleep deprived, you're not sure what's happened, your identity's changed, all this stuff's going on. So you've got all these things that can go against it. Maybe you haven't got the support or something. So yeah, really knowing, actually doing little tiny things, little glimmers every day that can stack up, that are realistic, not another to-do list, can make such a difference in you, how
Yeah.
you approach it, who you are, your baby, then anybody else, your whole life that ripples around you. So yeah, it is my passion. It's literally like saying my life. It's like my whole,
Yeah.
everything's geared up. And I really feel you can't, for my opinion, you can't do that unless I live that life myself.
Yeah.
I'm a mum, I'm a parent, I've got two kids, and I know that I'm at my best when I've looked after my own well-being.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's such resonance. And I know when we've talked about this before, like that this is absolutely what I subscribe to in my
Hmm.
work,
Hmm.
although like
Hmm.
yours I know is about like the parent and the baby, and mine is
Hmm.
working predominantly with adults, but
Hmm.
the energy is the same around actually you have to resource yourself, like we all have
Yeah.
that duty of care to ourselves,
hmm
if we like. And I think what can get really forgotten, particularly in early motherhood and even later motherhood, I think,
hmm
because,
hmm
I have conversation with clients that are really struggling with this still, is like you can just get really forgotten, can't you?
hmm
And all your
Yeah.
needs, your desires, your wants.
hmm
Maybe there's a thought behind, like, is it okay for me to have these needs,
hmm
desires, wants?
hmm
Am I being a bit, and I'm really going to inverted commas, selfish? I
hmm
was talking to someone earlier about this. It's,
hmm
can we actually lose the word selfish and use
hmm
self-full instead?
hmm Love it. Hmm
Like it's really important for us to
hmm
fill ourselves up. So yeah, like you must see that a lot, I guess, in particularly when like it's all so new, isn't it, in motherhood?
Well, yeah, the work that I do, even people who've got other children, I always say, just because you've got another child doesn't mean that you know everything and it's all going to be right. Because, you're a new person, your baby's new. But like you say, I always call it a journey. My kids are teenagers, and I
Mm,
say, I am still learning every day. I'm still, having all the experience of all the different emotions. And that's what it is. It's a journey. It's not like 6 weeks, it's all done, you're sorted. It's like
yeah.
you're continuing. It's about how do you build that resilience, which is why the well-being part is so important. And
Yeah.
now I'm kind of branching into my coaching world, which is outside of that kind of immediate stuff that I support. Like you say, with your clients is or the families that you support, people you support, is everywhere. So putting yourself at
Mm.
the middle is, and I love that self-fall because by doing that, it ripples everything that you do, your decisions, who you talk to, your relationships, everything, isn't it? And yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I was coaching someone this morning and we were having just this conversation. And actually, it's funny, isn't it? When things keep coming up, it's like we need to like have a look at that. And I
Mm-hmm,
do think there's a narrative around like have some time but not too much time,
mm-hmm,
have some time but make sure like this and this has happened first, or
mm-hmm,
do this
mm-hmm,
thing but like check in with whatever. And it's like it just has such a connotation around like it's not safe for me to take time for myself. Then there's
mm-hmm,
a judgment attached, or there's beliefs from other
mm-hmm,
people or beliefs from myself, or
mm-hmm,
all these
mm-hmm,
things attached. And I think this is where this oh, like, and there can be like a kind of like a laugh around it. Oh, like, oh, I'm going to be, oh, I'm being really selfish today. I'm going to go and, like have an hour and do a class, and it's like, that's why I really love the reframe of like, we've just got to like put that over there, because selfish is an energy. If we're attaching it to I'm going to have some precious time for myself as a parent, like that's the wrong energy, isn't it?
mm-hmm,
Like it has its place for what it is if someone actually
mm-hmm,
is behaving in a selfish way,
mm-hmm,
but there it's got no place. Do you know what I mean? And
mm-hmm,
that's where I think that helpful reframe to ourselves as mums, whatever ages, like you say, you've got teenagers. I've got,
mm-hmm.
as we record this, I've got 18 and 20. We're just in different seasons now, but
Yeah.
still stuff comes up, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And like you can easily still be running that kind of narrative even when they're that kind of age, because there's still
mm-hmm,
needs. However, the
mm-hmm,
needs are different. So I think from as early as possible, us saying to ourselves as we parent, like I choose to be selfful. I choose to take this space for myself and release the guilt and get comfy
mm-hmm,
with
mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah,
It's an important
absolutely.
frame.
Yeah, I call it your well-being is their well-being. That's my what I say. Or
Right.
taking care of you is taking care of them. And like you say, it's not, and it's also this idea of like you use the word precious. It's like it's not precious, it's essential,
Mm,
and it doesn't have to be this like massive thing of like days where I'm gonna be this idea of self looking after myself means I'm gonna jet off to a different island. I mean, that'd be lovely. But do you mean
Yeah.
realistically, it could be an hour, half an hour, 2 minutes. Like if you do that on a regular basis of whatever it is that you know that fills your cup at the moment, I always say to people, it could be just choosing your favorite cup when you're having a cup of tea. Like just
Yeah.
giving that gift to yourself is,
Yeah.
something you can add in. Like what can you add in that's realistic every day? Because all those little gems will build up and help you rather than holding out, oh no, in about 7 weeks' time, I can have 2 minutes. That's what I like to do is like explore the realistic way
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
going to support you.
Yeah.
It's good, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, I guess in the work that I do, I like to take it like a
Mm,
step further, which is
mm,
which I kind of think it depends where if it's with parents, it depends where you're at in your parenting
mm,
journey. But absolutely, your well-being is their well-being. But also,
mm,
I kind of think, and that's like once we, I think really once we've kind of like got on board with that, the step further we can
mm.
take is just about my well-being because, right?
Yeah, love it.
And
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So it's
yeah,
like this is super valid, and this is,
yeah.
everything's stepping stones, isn't it? Everything is like if we're trying to look after ourselves better physically, emotionally, mentally, trying to make more nourishing choices,
Hmm, hmm,
and maybe like kind of change our beliefs a little bit and all that stuff. It's like it's always little stepping stones. It's
hmm,
to go from here to here can feel like a massive leap. So
hmm,
I think this part here, okay, great. And when that feels like, like a bit of a pair of slippers, right? When it gets
hmm,
comfy and doesn't, because it can feel these moments, if we've, kind of been maybe used to looking after lots of other people just because,
hmm,
it can feel quite challenging, right? And a
hmm.
bit like,
Yeah,
oh, and all the things. And so it's like get it like a comfy pair of slippers and then actually just do it
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
you're worth it and why shouldn't you?
Yeah, no, I love that, isn't it? And the reason I say that in the work that I do is because often the incentive
Yeah,
and the kind of the mirror at the moment is, or the highlighted spot is, your baby, that's it. Whereas actually it's like trying to get people out, not out of that mindset, because obviously that's really important. But it's like if you're completely broken, how can you keep going? Because you can't stop. This
yeah,
parenting journey, we know this, like with our older children, it doesn't stop. This is it.
yeah,
So it's like, and I love the fact that you say if that comfy pair of slippers, it becomes, well, it is about you. It
yeah,
is
yeah,
about, you are, like you say, allowed to. You're not selfish. It's like,
yeah,
I always think it's essential. I think it's essential. It's not a nice thing to do or an add-on.
yeah.
It's like, it is life. That's it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I speak about joy in the same way, right?
Mm.
Like it
Yeah.
isn't we can luxury item it, okay?
Yeah.
Much like our well-being, our being
Hmm,
well.
hmm,
And it's my belief that it isn't that luxury item. In fact, it's like the basics, like the loo roll, but we
hmm,
forget that. Do you know what I mean? And just go,
hmm,
oh, look at the shopping list. Oh, okay, I might treat myself, get this really nice hand wash, and
hmm,
and
hmm.
that's how we can look at our joy, our well-being, whereas
Yeah.
actually they are like it's the loo roll, it's the soap, it's
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? The rice, it's like it's the basic stuff that we
Yeah.
need and not the nice to have, if you
Hmm,
like,
hmm.
So I
Yeah.
yeah, I think there's a lot of synergy with that, isn't there?
Hmm,
I'd love to know, my darling, in terms of like your joy journey, yeah,
hmm,
like where do you feel you're at with joy?
hmm,
And have you always found it easy to feel joy? It's a big
hmm.
question, I know.
It is a big question. And do you know what? No, I haven't found it easy, but definitely joy has been creeping into my life the last year with more of a spotlight on it. And actually, one of my
Yeah.
words for the year is joy. And what I think I
Oh,
learned, yeah, it's one of my words. What I learned last year was again, joy isn't something to obtain. It's when you actually let
Mm,
go and surrender, then joy comes through. And I really kind of, that really resonated with me last year. So I'm kind of coming in at that angle. And I think when I was questioning it, looking at it, it was that permission to have joy. It's interesting, isn't it? Or what,
mm,
what is joy? Like, when is that moment? So right now, I'm definitely more on my joy journey. I've had a particularly joyful week or so because I've been doing lots of activities regularly that really tip that for myself,
yeah,
doing it for my own personal joy journey. But definitely in my work. So I used to work for like many, many, many years in the statutory sectors, supporting families in that way. And I left a couple of years ago just to focus on the work that I love. And so that's become really important. So I have my work and that brings me joy in what I then deliver to bring joy for others. But then my own personal kind of everyday stuff to be able to deliver and do that and just live a good life, happy life, and be a good parent, model that for my children. So yeah, so that's my joy
yeah,
journey. It's definitely one I've had to work at though, for sure. Yeah,
yeah.
which is
Well,
interesting, like you say.
isn't it? Right?
Mm-hmm,
Isn't it? Because um, I think you said about even asking, like what is joy to me, or
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I really think we should be having more of these conversations with ourselves, and with
Yeah,
other people, actually, but
yeah.
certainly with ourselves. But I think we just don't give it space. And
Mm-hmm,
then it's interesting because we think about our conversations, it's like, what are we giving space to? And
mm-hmm,
there's probably a chunk of
mm-hmm.
things that get space that maybe it's like not as helpful that they get the space, right?
Yeah,
And what we
definitely.
could do is
Mm-hmm,
go, I'm going to talk about joy,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Like, how many times do we say to ourselves, like, what brings me joy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think for me as well, it's when I feel I'm a real kind of feel person. So when I
Mm,
feel joy, and so I
yeah,
started to notice that feeling of
yeah,
this is joy.
yeah,
This is what it is. So it's a real not only knowing what it is, but actually kind of embodying what it is in a
yeah,
moment. And in the different moments, it's not like I can only do that one thing that's going to bring me joy. The things like the sun, it's been sunny this week, which has been different than how it has been. But for that,
yeah,
that brings me joy. And taking a moment to let the sun on my body and to feel it on my face, to me, that brings joy. That brings
yeah,
hope. That's like, yeah, I really love that.
yeah,
So it doesn't have to be that I need to go and do something and that's, always going to bring me joy. It's the other things as well, isn't it?
yeah. Like you say, the feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And in your line of work as well, like with little people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're witnessing them being in their joy, like
Mm-hmm.
all the time, right? And obviously,
Yeah.
like in between, not, but typically, babies, toddlers, young
Mm-hmm.
children, that their default is to just be in joy, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
To like you said, to like to it's the noticing and the feeling,
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So they'll get
Yeah.
excited. Like I look out the window, it was sunny when we like first got here. Now it's starting to rain, but they would find joy in the wetness on the grass outside. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they'll notice and they'll feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, give that kind of same space to an adult that hasn't thought about joy and explored what joy is, and almost kind of got like activated their joy radar, if you like. Like
Mm-hmm.
kids
Mm-hmm.
is just switched on, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Until stuff starts to happen and da, da, da. But in that, like the younger years where they're just, like completely, fully, unapologetically themselves,
Mm-hmm.
they're just in it, aren't they?
Yeah, I talk about this a lot with my in my groups around that kind of being present as well, and
Yeah.
talk about and often people are all over the place. They've got loads of stuff going on. I like to literally just look at your child, and then I do a whole topic on playfulness as well, and the
Yes.
importance of how playfulness activates different parts of your brain. which
Yeah.
helps kind of process stuff, has an effect on your nervous system. But if you're dealing with your child, they are playful. That's how they
Yeah.
learn. That's how they grow. It's literally their, like you say, default setting. So if you
Yeah.
actually tune into that, I know we need to remember the milk and take the dog for a walk and all the other things going off in your head. But it's also like take a moment to connect with that, either
Yeah.
joy or that kind of presence and that playfulness, because it will have an effect. It's like sometimes I feel it's like you have to have it needs to be on my to-do list, or I need to be asked directly, what brings you joy, to go, oh yeah, like you say, it's
Yeah.
not because there's so many other things going on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that playfulness, that's why laughter yoga
Yeah.
is such a, as you know, such a delicious thing to deliver because
Hmm.
it it replicates that.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
brings
Yeah.
in that whole, like we were talking before, when you do your
Hmm.
five rhythms and
Hmm.
silent disco, like anything where it's movement based, I
Hmm.
think it
Hmm.
just takes the body back. It's that remembering because even though we might be like 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever we are, right? We're still
Hmm.
that little person, the
Hmm.
little people you see with the mums you work with. Like that person hasn't disappeared. They're
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
in there sometimes, and sometimes they're under a ton of washing or a ton of lists, a ton of like did I
Stuff.
get enough milk? Like you mentioned, do you know what I mean? Like they're under a ton of stuff, but I really believe that that little
Hmm.
person who had joy as a default setting, whose
Hmm.
baseline was playfulness,
Hmm.
they're in there, but they've just forgotten. So, like you say, bringing playfulness in
Hmm. Hmm.
is so important. And that's when, like, when I do, like, say, a workshop, and we've gone all the way through, the movement, the laughter meditation, the Reiki meditation. God, like to look at the people.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
powerful. It's almost like you can just feel
Yeah.
the energy charge. And it's
Yeah.
because as adults, we don't give ourselves permission to play,
Hmm.
and actually that's
Yeah.
something that you are really great at because I know you've
Hmm.
shared loads with me about the things you do. Um,
Hmm.
you bring it into like your for Eunice, and you
Yeah.
bring it into your work,
Yeah.
like so I would love to know in terms of like playfulness,
Hmm.
like what play type things do you bring in, like personally,
Hmm.
and then in
Hmm.
your work? Like what your
Hmm.
favorites? What kind of make you go, yay?
Yeah, I'll share that because like I said, I've done a few this week. But what makes me laugh is one of my teenage children says to me all the time, "Oh, Mum, you're so childish. You're just like a toddler." And I take that as a compliment now because
Yes.
I'm now allowing myself to be like that. And
I was
he
going to
can.
say total compliment.
That's amazing. So yeah, so
Yeah.
for me, I love being in nature. So I'm
Mm.
loving the block. We're in spring right now, so I'm loving the spring. I'm loving the sun sets down where I live. We've had really big tides, so the tides have been going out. You can get onto the sand, and if you've ever been to Brighton, you know that it's stony. So to go onto
Yeah.
the sand, see the reflections of this gorgeous thing. We've got the murmurations, which are the birds where they do the swift like movement
Mm.
at a certain time minutes ago, taking the time to go down there, seeing everybody else enjoying that gives me
Yeah.
joy. Those moments where everyone becomes like the same, where you're taking a picture.
Mm.
I left my house today and there's a lady outside my house taking a picture of a tree, and I talked to everybody, but I was just like, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just share those moments of joy. So that brings me joy. Movement, as you know, I love dancing. I absolutely love dancing. This week I said, I had a silent disco down on the beach with the sands out, my feet out, splashing through the water, headphones on. I mean, we all look absolutely bonkers, but who cares? And everyone, you just
Yeah.
feel it's the feeling once you allow yourself to do that. We're in a group, everyone's just doing their thing, and you might spot someone doing some kind of, I don't know, what were they doing? There's just someone was doing the time warp. I'm like, oh my goodness, you have to change
Ah,
the channels. And it's hilarious. And there's this connection. I think that joy
Yes.
in a group brings that connection and that permission.
Yes.
And some people whisper, and it's just afterwards, your whole, well, my whole being felt alive, and like
Yes.
I whole full yes, I need to do that again. I also
And I
like
love the
singing.
fact you said
Oh yeah.
barefoot.
Oh, I'm definitely, I'm always barefoot, and I mean
Yeah.
it's
But
freezing.
like
It's
and
March.
in the water, right? But
Yeah.
again, that is such a like a playful child's
Oh
energy, isn't it? Like
yeah.
when you think about one of my default images when I think about a toddler is they are jumping in a
Yeah.
puddle and they
Yeah.
are wetting themselves with
Yeah.
laughter and
Yeah.
finding it just the best thing ever. So
Yeah.
that's real. As you were describing that, my feet like were
Yeah.
doing that. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's because I've done silent discos in fields and
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
buildings, whatever. I
Hmm.
haven't done one on a beach where I can then put my feet in the water, and that just feels amazing.
Or just especially if you've got like a, Wuthering Heights or something, and you're all just like running, and you just like your feet just like it's just hilarious. It's just hilarious because it's kind of you're allowed to let go,
Yeah.
and everyone around you does it too. And that's really nice. And I just like that. But you're in your own world, but you're connected. So that definitely, that I've done that this week, that definitely brings me joy. And like I say, the
I,
feeling of the water, and again, it's that permission. Like, am I allowed to paddle?
yeah.
Like I like sea swimming. But am I allowed to go in and just paddle? And you get wet. It doesn't matter. It is
Yeah.
very, very childlike. But
Yeah.
it definitely, and then the full moon came up. I mean, it was a whole
Oh,
thing. It was like, yeah, absolutely incredible. So that really that really helps my cup for sure.
I've got a really interesting thing I was observed at a festival last year, a
Hmm.
beautiful festival I go to called Wellness in the Wild. Back there again this year
Hmm.
for the third time. It is wonderful in Suffolk.
Hmm.
You'd absolutely love it, Sally.
I
And
should write that down.
yeah, definitely check it out. It's beautiful. Like a smaller festival. So I think about
Hmm. Hmm.
500 people, and it is just beautiful. And on the
Hmm.
Friday night last year they had a silent disco and it was brilliant. It was so
Hmm.
great because it was in a big stretch tent, but it was that thing of like some people were in the stretch tent and some people were outside. Some
Hmm.
people were
Hmm.
like dancing off to the toilet. And it was just amazing. And actually,
Hmm.
the photographer who was doing the whole weekend, I was dancing around. I went, you should come here. And I said, you're going to get some banging photos. And I look
Hmm.
at their promo and like that's like they're using these photos. You can just see people like literally in their
Hmm.
happy place, like
Hmm.
barefoot in the fields. It's
Hmm.
like the sun is kind of like drooping and whatever. And in the same space the next night,
Hmm.
there was a DJ and it was
Hmm.
completely different. And it's really,
Hmm.
and like the dance, like this is, there was dancing, but the
Hmm.
full body, like
Hmm.
permission to be myself dancing happened in the
Hmm.
silent disco. And I think
Yeah.
it's really interesting, isn't it? Because in that silence, in that
Hmm.
enclosing,
Hmm.
like I just think people something flicks and you go,
Hmm.
"Ah, I've
Yeah.
arrived." And when the earphones are gone and it's back to
Hmm.
being a DJ, people are
Hmm.
more self-conscious,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
definitely think there's something of that because you even though you're together, you have got this thing, and it's
Yeah,
I was like me and my friend were videoing and stuff like that, but you forget no one can hear the music, and if you
yeah,
take them off for 1 second, you've got everyone back like, singing terribly, but
yeah,
at
yeah,
their
yeah,
complete heart, like they're going for it because they can't, nobody's judging, like you say. And the
yeah,
other thing I did something last night that I really, really enjoy as well. And again, when I did it, it's like a kind of a type of singing that I do. Everyone had we have you shut your eyes, and again, because you have that removal of that kind of not social barrier, but that thing, it's a real kind of everyone just lets their heart open really
yeah,
wide, and you can feel that collective energy. You can let yourself go. I always say I start off singing really with my mouth like that, and by the end I'm like, when was the last time you opened your mouth? I think like
yeah,
properly, like just exploring those things, and I think that's what joy is, to have permission to yourself to let go and just try and have
yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
Yeah.
have to
And
be loud. Like I said, it could be the sun on your face. I love being in the cold water and that thrill of that cold water, or even like something quiet as well. Sometimes there can be joy just in listening to the birds or something. For me, anyway, that's what I like. Yeah.
yeah. And I think what it but those two moments we were talking about, where you said like eyes shut and then suddenly it's,
Hmm.
and with the silent disco versus like a DJ
Hmm.
where everyone can hear the same noise at the same time. We get really caught up in the judgment when we can
Hmm.
see, right? Because it's like,
Hmm.
am
Hmm.
I singing properly? Am I
Yeah.
dancing properly? Everyone can hear the same thing as me.
Yeah.
So am I doing it properly? And it so
Hmm.
gets in the way of us being comfy with things that give us joy. And I think
Yeah.
probably that's the freedom of like you're saying, doing the singing and you shut your
Hmm.
eyes and it's almost like no one's there. So then it's
Hmm.
like, well,
Hmm.
permission to sing off key if that's
Hmm.
what's coming out. But actually, probably what happens is you sing much more in key because
Hmm.
you've dropped how you were
Hmm.
feeling around it, so
Hmm.
that the
Hmm.
nerves aren't there, you know.
Yeah.
And much
Yeah.
like with the headphones on for a silent disco, no one can like think about how you're dancing to the tune because they don't know what the tune is. That it's, do you know what I mean? It's like
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
really think we can tie ourselves up in so many knots around how someone might be perceiving,
Hmm.
like
Yeah,
what's going
definitely.
on, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, when I hold my groups, one of them we do singing in the group with the babies, and I always say, especially people quite nervous, it might be their first time out, and I say, there's the space we're in is magic. What it does, it changes us all into a choir, so it doesn't matter how you sing. The babies don't know, they don't know the words. It's all good, and then we sing, and then I'll say, "See, didn't we sound amazing?" And it's just to take the edge off. It's just like to give you that it's
Yeah.
okay to like help, yeah, help people feel a bit more trusting to let go, and then you can lean into it a little bit more, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And like singing is another just such a powerful connector, isn't
Hmm.
it?
Hmm.
With self, but
Hmm.
certainly with others, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that, like coming together, like
Hmm.
in movement, in song,
Hmm.
in laughter.
Hmm.
Like it's like it's bringing a universal language in
Hmm.
whatever it
Yeah.
is, whether it's
Yeah.
dance or,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I think, yeah, if you go back, like this is what people used
Hmm.
before all of this stuff, is
Yeah.
happening around us. That's what people did, didn't they?
Hmm.
They gathered
Yeah.
together in circles, in
Hmm.
community, and
Hmm.
sang and
Hmm.
like danced and
Hmm.
celebrated. And,
Hmm.
but it's like so much of that has been kind of taken away from us
Hmm.
culturally,
Hmm.
hasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. It's interesting, isn't it? And it's that kind of, it comes back to that permission and or fitting it in and just knowing what feels right for you as well as a person. Some people that might feel like the worst thing for them, but or because they've been told, oh, you can't dance, you can't sing, what are you doing?
Yeah,
That kind of shame, that judgment is that actually going, do you know what? Actually, I think it's because I'm older now, but like when my son says, "Oh, you're so childish, mum." I'm like, you
yeah,
know what? Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I want to be. I want to be more childish.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, like it's interesting how we can initially react to stuff like this. If I
Hmm.
go, say, I think like for festival settings, it definitely comes up, but
Hmm.
not very
Hmm.
much. But certainly if I go into corporate and
Hmm.
do a corporate laughter yoga
Hmm.
session, there can be like a proper bum clench of like,
Yeah.
whoa. And all we are doing we're just playing, but
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
can feel, really kind of, yeah, like it can feel a million miles away from our comfort zone, right?
Hmm.
'Cause it's like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm used to doing this, and I think, yeah, honestly, like allowing ourselves to step into these like childlike situations, and it is important to do the thing that feels good, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
if you're not doing the thing because you're scared,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, or because you're worried about someone might say or think of
Mm-hmm.
you,
Mm-hmm.
like definitely that is like a reason to get curious and to give it a
Yeah.
whirl, isn't it? Because otherwise what we're doing is we're blocking ourselves from things that bring us pleasure, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And
Mm-hmm.
and it's okay to choose the things that we like, but if you're not doing the things that you could like because you're worried, like then it's like, well, like who are you not to, really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I also think sometimes it's a capacity thing, but perhaps people have lost, what brings them joy. I don't know. I don't know, that connecting, I always call it like connecting to your core self. I do a lot of work
Yeah,
around that because it's like what is important to you as you go through life. We change through life, don't we? Or if you're
yeah,
in the work setting, let's say if you're in corporate, what is important to you, what does bring you joy, and exploring that. And people often don't have that even in their like world, let alone want to then go on and have all those judgments and understand what's going on. It's like I haven't taken that time to consider that. And I try and get people just to notice in their week that what is it that just brings a smile or
yeah,
makes you laugh or
yeah.
something that you can just feel like what just notice it and just see. Because you just become detached from it. Like you say, you get underneath all of that washing and that tea and stuff.
Yeah, and just so consumed by like all of the stuff of life going on that we
Hmm.
forget to ask ourselves some basic questions, don't
Hmm.
we?
Yeah.
And yeah, and just yeah, giving ourselves space to find the things which are gonna put a smile on our face,
Hmm.
and yeah, it could be movement, could be laughter, could be singing, could just be just sitting down for
Yeah, well,
5 minutes.
yeah,
Do you
that
know what I
that
mean?
definitely brings me joy sometimes. But
Yeah.
also, I know that this week, like I did something new as well this week, which is I think that for me that's really nice. I did something new. I love a sauna and a swim as well. I love being in nature. But I went to a concert, which was like a candlelit violin concert in a beautiful
Mm.
setting in Brighton. Now I've never like I know it's been on, I haven't done it, but I went with someone as well, and it was like beautiful and everything, and they played ABBA, and we were just having oh my god, honestly, it was hilarious, and everyone because it was like this different setting, it was
Yeah.
gorgeous, but had this like kind of different slant to it, and it was like allowing yourself, and people were singing quietly to each other, and it was just lovely, and that definitely brought me a joyful moment to do something new. I've not done it with someone that I care about. Um, or I went out for a meal with my daughter and my friend, and that was really nice as well to spend that time together. So it doesn't have to be all of those things. It can be just something like on the spur of the moment. But I
Yeah.
know that because I've done that this week, my week has been so much better. I feel, in my health, I feel better. My sleep's been better. I'm probably I hope to be a nicer kind of parent and a nicer kind of person to everyone because I've given myself those moments. And that's why it's important and a necessity, not, an add-on like we were talking about at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. And this goes back to that thing where we said about, just asking ourselves, like, what is it that, is gonna
Hmm.
like help us feel good, bring us
Hmm.
joy, like feel fun and playful. And
Hmm.
then like, well, okay, so like how do I get to make that happen this week? And like you
Hmm.
said, it could be I'm gonna go and do something completely new. That feels like,
Hmm.
it's like where can we find the fun and excitement? Because
Hmm.
we all know there's chunks of life which are very far away from fun and
Hmm.
very far away from excitement and
Yeah.
like so and they have to happen, right? And
Hmm.
and then there's stuff going on which feels really unpleasant in the world and horrific and all the things.
Hmm.
So there's all these other things. So maybe we just feel, oh,
Hmm.
is it okay? Am I allowed to think about this? And I
Hmm.
think
Hmm.
because of all these pieces, actually it makes it really essential
Hmm. Hmm.
because all this stuff is going to happen anyway, isn't it?
Hmm.
Like horrific things in the world and the stuff that feels hard and heavy. So actually, like asking yourself, Like even just simply just saying to yourself at the start of the day, like, what is it that I need today? You know, what's going to put a smile on my face today? Like,
Hmm.
what's going to like help me feel 1% better, you
Hmm.
know, that's available to me today, you know,
Yeah.
and like and in the constraints of time, whatever, like it may be like
Hmm.
going out for food or whatever, that's not available on that day. But there will be other
Yeah.
things. There'll be always
Hmm.
be other things, won't there? You know,
Yeah.
like we said about just sit down for 5 minutes, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like release
Yeah.
the busy and just pause.
Yeah, or I say like, choose your favorite plate for your breakfast. Like take a purposeful,
Mm,
it's like that purposeful effort.
yeah,
Now when I plan my week, at the moment especially, I look at the weather forecast, and then
yeah,
the days, because it's so rainy, the days that there's a glimmer of sun, I block out time to go for a walk, do
yeah,
something, or just go in my garden. The joy of
yeah,
being in my garden. I like gardening, I like growing vegetables, knowing that, oh, it'd be soon season. Just like spending a half an hour just pottering around, doing that for me brings me joy because it connects to the hope and the possibility. And I think that's what
yeah,
it does as well. But I plan my time at the moment around the weather forecast because it's
yeah.
important to me. Yeah.
But that's such a great hack because like anyone listening
Hmm.
who is kind of thinking, yeah, but I'm really busy and you
Hmm.
know
Hmm.
that's like really
Yeah.
helpful, isn't it? Because it's
Yeah.
like, yes, you can, you know, like if you are someone who maybe people book into your diary and stuff, and then you're like, oh
Hmm.
God, I should have blocked that out. Now I'm missing that,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, like that's your gift to yourself, isn't it? You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
to be sure that you've got like that space and time because in the spaciousness like that's when we go like
Yeah.
out of this very busy
Hmm.
often bonkers space in our heads
Hmm.
and like
Hmm.
back to body, back to body,
Yeah.
back to body. And I think like you said before, you know, we're like it might be moving our body or whatever, but you know we can come back to ourselves, to a sense of ease and joy and lightness through choosing your favorite plate, through
Hmm.
5 minutes, like outside in the garden, hot cup of tea, you know, it doesn't have to
Hmm.
be noisy. And I think,
Hmm.
you know, this often is why people aren't maybe hooking into joy as easily as they could be,
Hmm.
because there's a belief around joy having to be huge and magnificent.
Yeah, I always say do it by songs. I say if you like music, instead of saying 5 minutes, say I'll give myself one song.
Yeah,
And I guarantee if you give yourself and choose your favorite song, you know it's going to make you
yeah,
feel nice. I guarantee that will lead to another song. And that's
yeah,
what, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. But if you're doing it by song, you just kind of you don't want to end that song. So you're
yeah,
going to do it wholly. And I just love that it takes that time away from it as well, maybe your phone or something. Unless your
yeah.
music's on your phone, but it's just a really nice way of doing it as well. It's just listen to my really nice tune that's going to help me connect to my joy or myself, whatever it is, or have a sing, or if you're feeling a bit much, you might just get it all out. And it's that one thing. That's it. It's as simple as
Yeah,
one song.
yeah, and I think this, like, you know, this is my belief around joy. It's like
Yeah.
it's in the tiniest little pieces that we
Hmm.
can start to make joy our
Hmm.
baseline again, or like
Hmm.
reactivate it. Because, like I say, like that
Yeah.
little person hasn't gone away. They're just under
Hmm.
a ton of stuff. So
Hmm.
it's deciding and choosing, like the poster, you know, like
Hmm.
I'm going to choose
Hmm.
myself and I'm going to choose
Hmm.
this little slice of joy because all the busy stuff is still going to be there. Like, I don't think
Hmm.
anyone really ever gets to the end of, I've done all my things.
No,
You
and
know,
I think that brings, the two together, isn't it? It's the balance. By having
yeah,
that creates some more joy. The having the joy creates that. It's like, for me
yeah,
anyway, it's interlinked. So not have it top heavy. It's like
yes,
have a balance of the two because, like you say, it's not going
absolutely.
to, unfortunately, it's not going away. It hasn't in the 50
Well,
years that
there
I've
will
been
just
around.
always be other stuff, right? You know, we
Yeah,
might, we'll get stuff done, but then
yeah,
other stuff will come in, and I
yeah.
think so. We can't change that. And it's like it's always so much more helpful for us
Hmm.
control the things we can control and release the
Mhm.
things we can't. So,
Yeah.
in terms of busy, which I think everyone subscribes to
Yeah.
and relates to pretty much, like I'd say
Hmm.
most people, well, how can I feel around the busy?
Hmm.
So, if
Yeah. Yeah.
I like nurture myself and have these acts of tiny little rituals, tiny little things I can
Hmm.
do, like listening to a song, hitting
Hmm.
pause, like being in nature, whatever it is where it fills up my cup, moving my body, then
Hmm.
this busy,
Hmm.
actually, it gets a little bit quieter because it's
Hmm.
easier
Hmm.
to do
Hmm.
to deal with.
Yeah.
That's the kind of that's the piece I think really because the
Hmm.
busy can feel really noisy and that's when we get really overwhelmed and then we
Hmm.
procrastinate about things because we just haven't got the headspace. We also can feel really exhausted because of the mental load of it.
Hmm.
And it's like, well,
Hmm.
how can I quieten that down?
Yeah.
How can I
Yeah.
lessen the charge of that actually? And it can feel really intuitive.
Hmm.
I need to take some time.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
there's like you got to
Yeah.
work on the reframe with that. But honestly, if we take that little time or that like noticing, like you said, noticing the person taking the photo of the tree, or if we take
Hmm.
that time to really feel, like I walked down to the beach this morning and I haven't got the time at the moment, like inverted
Hmm.
commas, but I made sure I went there because I was like, I've got
Hmm.
two coaching calls, podcast recording, lots of work that's rolled over from each day, which is just going to have to get some
Hmm.
of it parked for next week. But if I
Hmm.
don't go out this morning and
Yeah.
do it, like you were saying, the sun was shining, it's raining now. Am I
Hmm.
likely to do it later? Probably not.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
like I'm more likely if
Hmm.
I commit to giving myself at like that nourishment and looking at the sun and the beach and the seagulls and the dogs running around, I'm going to come to everything that I do today in a much better energy,
Yeah.
And if I hadn't done that, like who's showing up to these calls?
Hmm.
Somebody who was going, oh, we should have went out in the bloody sunshine earlier.
And it doesn't necessarily mean you'd have done all the tasks either. Like if you
No.
hadn't taken that walk,
Yeah.
doesn't mean because sometimes you become more effective. Like I ran my
Yeah.
class this morning, and instead of driving, I make sure I try and walk as long as it's nice.
Yeah.
Um, because it's like that is my walk, and I can see the trees. And if I can't do any
Yeah.
other movement today, at least I've done that, and that's good, isn't it? But like you say, it doesn't mean you can be more productive by not
Yeah.
taking those things. It's often the other way.
Absolutely, because I could have
Hmm.
not done that walk and then I could have filled my time with actually something else
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then gone into the calls and whatever and then gone, oh,
Hmm.
so we
Hmm.
like we tell ourselves what we want to tell ourselves, right? So I just think
Hmm.
if we can talk ourselves into the
Hmm.
stuff that's going to look after ourselves, we're going
Hmm.
to feel a whole lot better when we talk ourselves out of the thing. We can be brilliant
Hmm.
at both because we are brilliant. We're creative
Hmm.
souls with loads of ideas and da da da.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
like I think a helpful thing for me is always like, well, what can I talk myself into that's going to help me? I'm going to talk
Hmm.
myself into getting out, even though I'm maybe feeling a bit time pressed. I'm going to talk myself
Hmm.
into knocking off work because actually I'll feel better tomorrow. And that thing
Hmm.
that I think I should get done, it will
Yeah.
just get done tomorrow anyway. So, like,
Yeah.
what can we talk ourselves into? Like, can we talk
Hmm.
ourselves into more joyful moments? Can we talk
Hmm.
ourselves into more nourishing moments? Can we talk ourselves into more ease? Like,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
that's what, that's the shift for us, really, isn't it?
Hmm. I love that. I love that. Can we talk ourselves into? I love
Mm,
that phrase. It's great.
yeah. Yeah. I find
Hmm.
it super helpful because as we know, like we can just get really caught up in our headspace.
Hmm.
So it's
Hmm.
like, right, let's get caught up in a different way and let's talk ourselves into like all the blessings, all the glimmers,
Hmm.
all the, do you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like we can go out and
Hmm.
have a walk on a really wet day and it can be
Hmm.
exactly the same walk, but we can look at it with two different lenses, you
Hmm.
know?
Hmm.
Like it's like how we want to talk ourselves into the experience as
Hmm.
opposed to, oh, I knew I shouldn't have, which we could do,
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
what do we talk
Yeah.
ourselves into? And on that note, can I talk you into a little bit of laughter, Sally?
You can. You can talk me into a little bit of laughter.
I know you don't need much talking into this. I love to do this to wrap up because it just gives people that experiential dose of how powerful laughter is. So anyone
Hmm.
listening, please do join in. It's it's reminding you of your inner resources, your ultimate power, because so often we kind of forget that and we outsource
Hmm.
and we give it away to other people. And it's like, no, you're your best guide. So this gives you that
Hmm.
little
Hmm.
burst. So all we're going to do, Sally, my lovely, is we're going to take a breath in through our noses and then we'll breathe
Hmm.
out with laughter. And we'll probably do like 2 or 3 rounds. Does that feel all right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's full sign. Thank you.
See, look, I just start laughing straight away. So let's take a breath in and then exhale with laughter. Let's go again. Breath in and exhaling. Ah, let's go one more time. Breath in and exhaling. My gosh. Oh,
Oh.
I love that. I'd love to know, like, how are you feeling now? Like, what do you notice in terms of like energetically your body? Like, yeah, a word you're feeling, whatever.
Yeah, I feel fizzy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel fit. It's fizzy and it's like fizzy in my core of my body, but also in my face, but
Yeah.
also in my mind. My mind feels a bit like speckly, but in kind of a like my eyes are open, like and they're like a brightness. So fizzy
Yes.
and brightness is what I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that, and I like it, like I totally relate because
Mm.
there's something shifts like on like facially. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
it is like this kind of like the eyes are more open, but it's like this
Mhm.
almost like a fizzy layer on the face where it goes, whoa,
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
like it's incredible stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's
From
what I was saying
what?
about that singing. Yesterday I
Yeah,
was saying you start off here and then you end
yeah,
up, oh my goodness, I haven't used my whole face. And it's the
yeah,
same, isn't it? The love is that you just let go. We hold so much tension, don't we,
yeah,
in
yeah.
here. And it's just like letting that go affects your whole nervous system, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and all our facial muscles, they know what it's like to like a big cheesy grin. That big. So as soon as
Hmm.
we start doing that, it's like,
Hmm.
whoa. And I think that's what really, because normally we're like, huh, like it's
Hmm. Hmm.
quick kind of chest laugh, like chest breathing, like quick knee jerk. Whereas when you do that big belly, like mouth wide
Hmm.
open,
Hmm.
all of these activate. And
Hmm.
that's like a ton of
Hmm.
memory,
Hmm.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, 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 yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Oh,
Amazing.
I
Yeah.
love it. Oh, thank you so much for laughing with me, my darling. I absolutely love that. I would love to know before we wrap up the
Hmm.
podcast, my darling, anything you would
Hmm.
love to share with anyone. Obviously, I'll share your socials, but if you want to, yeah, share anything that you've got that's coming up, anything about your stuff, maybe you've got some events or a freebie or yeah, just anything you want to share with the lovely listeners, my darling.
Oh, thank you, my lovely. It's been very enjoyable. So it's always lovely to chat with you, but thank you for that. Yeah, so everything I do is on Instagram or Facebook. And you can obviously you share the link. So thank you for doing that. I have a lot of local in-person stuff where I live, but I am currently launching an online program called My Parenting Journey. It's an 8-week course and it's exploring all aspects of parenting. So we talk about all the stuff that no one talks about, rage and well-being tools to support it. We talk about boundaries and relationships and loads of stuff we've been talking about today. And my kind of passion is to get that UK wide because we need to have that, in my opinion. And then the other part of what I'm doing, which is very exciting, is my training in my professional coaching at the moment. So that's going to be finishing in May, I think, and then I'll be into my full coaching like status as well, so that again I can branch it out. I know it's very exciting. So yeah, they're the two kind of wider things that I'm doing at the moment.
Oh, and yes, and I have been on this journey with
You
you, and
have.
I'm so excited for you, Sally, because yeah, to know that the online program is coming, I know that's
Hmm.
been like a beautiful thing that you've been wanting to birth, and
Hmm.
I have no doubt that will touch the lives of many. And
Hmm.
oh yeah, I'm super excited about that. And yeah, I know the coaching thing has been like a really beautiful journey for you. So I'm really
Hmm.
excited to see what's next. So please, if stuff has been resonating that Sally's been sharing, I know. As you can hear, we both love a chat. So her DMs are open. She would always love to hear anything that's resonated. And that's from both of us. Please do reach out. If there's
Hmm.
anything that we've covered that you're like, oh, I just would love to know more about that, please do get in touch. But yes,
Hmm.
thank you so much, Sally. You have been an absolute legend. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And we will be back very soon with another episode of Live Your Best Laugh, my darlings. In the meantime, take lots of care. Lots of love.